All right. Hello everyone, and welcome to stream. It's weird saying that on a Wednesday. I'll be honest. I'm not used to being here during a weekday. I just hopped off from a meeting, and I'm here. And then immediately after the stream, I go and teach a class. So if any of my students are in chat, hello, you're getting an extra tired class today. All weekdays are the same to me. No, Tuesday for me is Pokemon D&D. Thursday for me is normal D&D, and Monday is sometimes D&D. Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? We're gonna start off with asking how you're doing before I ruin your mood. How's everybody doing? I'm sure you can tell that I am of the utmost amount of energy today. Good. That's good. 2 a.m.? I was up till 2 a.m. yesterday. Pretty good. Okay, how are you? I'm certain you can hear in my voice how awake I am. I'm sure you can see by the title of the stream, today is the roast stream, which, to be fair, today is going to be more of a char than it is a roast. It's gonna be like, you ever see those, I'm not gonna ask if you actually watch House MD, but you ever see those, like, TikToks or, like, clips of, like, House MD online? You see how he, like, roasts people, and it's, like, just very, like, monotone and, like, flat, but somehow it still hurts. That's the kind of energy that I'm bringing today. I am Dr. House, and that is what you will all have to experience today for today's roast. Before we get into it, I've got things to say. Our mission here at Wing Canvas is to make art education easily accessible to everyone, so join us for free live stream lessons every week, because we're not just a YouTube channel, we are an online school of illustration helping art nerds turn their passion into income. Shout out to our amazing students and members for supporting our mission. We love seeing your incredible artwork and watching your skills improve in our classes and weekly critiques. And if you're an art nerd, be sure to check our Discord. You can find our notes and artwork from streams, as well as art challenges and other resources to help you improve as an artist. Cool. Pretty sick. Alright. We're jumping straight into it, because it's Wednesday, so don't have any art. We're going to be looking at nothing but other people's art for today. And I don't want to waste time. Personally, I don't want to waste time. First of all, as I start every single roast off with, I'm still disappointed in all of you. In total, there were 1, 2, 3, I have the form over, 4 of you who still do not know how to click the blue share button when you create a folder on Drive. Alright. I cannot believe that it is... How many years of this has it been, Kevin? It's gotta be like 3 now. 3-ish years now of this. You know? I don't understand how you don't know how to share a Google Drive folder or a document or anything like that. It's like, you know, like, I feel like, especially in today's school systems, they're kind of just, everybody uses them. Hang on, I'm gonna check how old are the people who did this. High school, middle school, high school, adult. Okay, if you're an adult, maybe I can, like, prove, you have the excuse of being a boomer. But, like, if you're, like, a middle school, high school, I'm like, do you not use it in school? I feel like everybody does. It's a free tool. Google doesn't cost money. Like, maybe Wi-Fi does, but, like, most schools have... Like, is that a privileged thing to say? Like, is it privileged to be like, how do you not know how to use Google I swear, like, it's a free thing. If you don't have it, like, go to a McDonald's, I guess? There's Wi-Fi there? I don't know. I'm just so, like, it's so easy. If you're watching this stream, hang on, no, it is, you do have access. Hang on, it just sank in. No, if you submitted to this, you have Wi-Fi. Why are we messing up how to create a Google Drive link in the year of our Lord 2025? Anyway, let's get into it. First up, I saw you absolutely losing your mind before stream started, because Artist is in chat for this very first one. I started logging on to here, and I'm like, I look in the chat of this stream. Clockworx says here early, if I get picked, I'm dead. I'm sorry, you're not only were you picked, you're the first one here. Artists in chat, everybody point at them. They submitted this one for me to take a look at. Alright. Now, unfortunately, you've put yourself on the chopping block. Unfortunately, this means I need to give you a soul read, because that is what I've decided that I'm going to do for the good chunk of these artists. Alright? First of all, I see you've put Baby Hotline on your piece. That means you listen to Jack Stauber, which tells me, I'm not revealing how old you are. This tells me that you wish that you were born in the earlier 2000s so that you could have experienced 2014 Tumblr when fandom was, you know, stronger during that time. You probably would have had if you had Skype, you probably would have had a Jack Stauber album cover as your profile picture. Something also tells me that you really, really like Poppy Playtime. I don't know. Maybe it's just impossible to tell. Let's say that we've got... Something else tells me that you really like ARGs, specifically ones... You think that Five Nights at Freddy's is a little too basic, so then you end up really liking Welcome Home. Maybe you like the Walton Files if you're extra niche, but then you also really like the animatics that people put on TikTok where they make them into, you know, angsty edits about each character and wishing that they got a better life. Something also tells me that you call the characters your Blorbos. I just need you to know that. Let me do my job now. Immediately what we're going on with here, right? You've got a severe case of, if I put enough texture onto my piece, they won't notice that I don't understand how anatomy works, which, you know, that's kind of how most people around, you know, this era of artwork functioned, because they saw the bottom lashes that come out from the irises and they go, that's great, I'm gonna do that on everything, but then they don't really know how to place anything on the face, so that it all ends up looking like it's a mishmash of, you know, color. You would love collage, you know? I feel like you would love a thrift store hates to see you coming, because, you know, that you find a stack of paper that's been thrown into the trash and you go, oh my god, that's gonna be awesome to work with. But, you know, that's a self-call out, because I've done that before. Anyway, when we look at a face, right, we're looking at a face that's going on here. I must also mention that this individual, that Clockworx, on their submission, where are you? Clockworx on their submission specifically said they struggled with clothing wrinkles, which is not your biggest problem here. But in brackets, they said, please go extra hard on the critique, I want to improve. Now, unfortunately, that just means that you're under my death ray. I like you. That's fun. Where are you? Let's say that we've got the full face here, right? If we're taking a look at this, what you've done is you've essentially made the eyes 90% of here, so then that means that we don't have any more room for anything else, right? You can have these giant eyes, but I'm thinking, like, this shape is actually pretty cool, but let's make them a little bit smaller, so you can keep the integrity of this eye shape here, and then also keep in this, like, funky mouth thing you got going, and then you can have the bottom lashes. And then, look at that. Isn't that absolutely crazy? They're not touching each other, so I can actually tell what is an eyelash and what's not a mustache, you know? Because when we have these kind of overlapping each other, boom, isn't that crazy? Now I can actually tell what's happening. Pretty nuts. But yeah, we've got a lot of, like, overlapping forms, and the biggest problem is that we have, when you have a lot of things going on, you're tightly packing it into a composition, it ends up making it more confusing, because then you're like, you're not really there's no good silhouette, right? There isn't any silhouette that we're working with here. You said you wanted to be an artist professionally, so understanding how silhouettes work and making our things readable is really, really important. So let's say that we've got our let's say that we've got our hello neighbor insert OC over here, right? Just adding an oval like this doesn't really tell us the form of the ear that's going on, so I'm gonna want to create the side of it more like this as we're covering eye over here. And then we've got this eye here. Kind of doing this magic. And then sorry, you do one of two things. I should have said it's either you call them your blorbos or you call them baby girl when it's a 40-year-old man in an awful business suit. That's also a possibility. But see, this is why I'm thinking that you really like the 2014 Tumblr thing, because some things have line art and some things don't. And also, what do we call it? Yeah, we've got some things that have line art and some things that don't, which works if they have enough contrast, which right now, this is really blending into the shirt here. So I'm like, I'll be honest, I didn't even notice this bottom of the phone here. I just thought bro had a phone up here, and then there was something else kind of staring at him down here upon first glance. So if we want like this to be visible, we probably should have like some kind of line art around him, or put a shadow. Since you love textures so much in collage, what we can do is you got a shadow behind here, do that on here too, and then it like helps it bounce off the screen more, right? But we've got this phone screen here. It's like I might have it so we have the body here, the phone here. Instead of having the arm super tight into the side, I might have the arm out like this, so then we can have more, again, of the silhouette of the arm. And instead of it all just being one big rectangle down here, having this now, we have like a proper silhouette of the arm going out. And then same with this one, we can have this finger with the twirling. See, this is why it's like, oh, he's my baby girl. You see how cute he twirls the... Anyway. You know, you can twirl the cord around here still, but like, let's have the arm come out this way, so that again, we have more of a... that going on, right? So then this feels a little more readable. You still keep the text, you still keep the tightness of the silhouette, whatnot. And I guess you can put this in there too, if you really want to. Like, I'm not gonna tell you to live your life. I'm not gonna tell you that it's like illegal, but I'm also not gonna tell you that it looks good, I guess. That's me though, you know? Maybe I'm just not young enough for this aesthetic anymore. Maybe I'm actually getting old, chat. Maybe that's actually the problem. But yeah, you kind of notice how this silhouette reads a lot better. You still want to think of that, especially when we're working professionally. Oh, I just gave away who else is on here. That's okay. I mean, you can see the names up there. If you're in chat, then you can see your names. But yeah, let me show you what I mean by like if you added a shadow around this, because again, like, you kind of look at this guy and you don't really see that clock. He's kind of the phone, he's kind of blending in there. Same with this part of the phone. The only reason I can see this better is because it's on yellow, so it's easier to spot. Let's take this blue. It's like I might just add an outline, and then that gives us a better read of what's going on here. Right? Or again, because you love textures so much, what you could do is I'm saying that like it's as if it's like mean. That's not even like I'm exactly the same. I love textures. Like, I love I'm exactly the same. So I'm like, I'm not even gonna like knock you for that. But like, if you just add like the kind of like drop shadow on this guy too, that it feels a little bit better. I probably actually would just keep it to, or just make him a different color. You ever see those toy phones, like the Fisher-Price toy phones? This guy already looks like he could be like something sold in Toys R Us. Why don't you just keep the pattern going, you know? Again, this is why it kind of feels like a Poppy Playtime insert OC, you know what I'm saying? Like, you could so easily do that. Like, it's you know, there's a couple ways that you could do that, but regardless. That's the long and short of that one. What else are we looking at here? Oh, right, folds. You said you wanted folds. Yeah, you're right. You do struggle with folds. These are rough. Let's... Yeah, we don't need all that. Genuinely don't. You know what the joys of folds are? Everybody who starts getting into folds, they think as long as I add enough random lines, it'll make sense. Right? It's like, as long as I add in enough random crap in here, they won't notice that I don't know what I'm doing. Unfortunately, you're dealing with me, and I like zooming in on work. I also like flipping the canvas. I didn't even need to flip this one. There was a lot going on that I didn't even need to, you know, right. Again, this wire is so unreadable. If we had this as like the Fisher-Price guy, we could have this as red. And actually, like, brighten that up so it doesn't, yeah. So that it actually, yeah, that's way better looking, you know? And then it actually, like, you can read it. And it's like, there's like a proper leading line that goes around. That's a lot better. Regardless, right? It's like you throw in a bunch of folds and you're like, they won't notice. I notice. I will judge you. Always know that. I will be judging you. Folds are always in relation to movement. Right. Folds are always in relation to movement. If we've got an arm that's bending, right? Let's say we've got an arm bent off to the side here. Right. What we've got going on, we're not gonna just and pray, right? And then also like just do this with the, we're not, this is also like super exaggerated, but we're not gonna do this and just pray, right? That's not what's happening. We've got a bend in the arm, and we've got tightness around the shoulder. So what we're going to do is we're going to have folds in that bend of the arm, and we're going to have folds along the shoulder. That's it. Genuinely. Like, that's literally it. It is just in relation to what bends and what folds. You want a trick? Get a tissue paper, wrap it around your finger, and bend it. That's how a sleeve bends. I'm not even joking. You get tissue, like the tissue that you wipe your nose with, you wrap it around your finger once or twice, you bend your finger, you've got an elbow bend. Because it works. And that's how it is. So, exactly here, we got this guy going on. We don't need this. What is this? We don't need this either. We can get rid of this. That doesn't need to happen. More folds does not equal better, right? If this is one side of the arm, that's literally all we need. And that's all the fold we got. You can have some like going across the chest too. Like you could have like a couple lines there, but that's pretty much it. You see that difference? Bro up here is struggling. But then when you come down here, simple. Much nicer. Much easier. Right? Easy peasy. What else? Is there anything else I need to say? Is there anything I missed? I don't think so. Alright. I've already made fun of you for clearly enjoying ARG mascot horror a bunch. And Jack Stauber. I make fun of you because I was you. Alright. Nah, I think that's good. Everybody give applause to Clockworx. Thank you so much for submitting. Oh, I should also mention everybody who gets featured on this stream. After stream, if you would like to reach out to me somehow, you can reach out to me via the Discord. I will send you your working files. So it's like I will personally send you your working files. So you can have all of the, you notice there are layers on here. I will send you the file that has all of its layers after stream happens. So after stream is done, if you'd like to reach out to me, my messages are open even if we are not added as friends on Discord. You can also go through the mods and they can grab me via a ticket that you can create on the Discord. But yes, if you want your files after the fact, just reach out, tell me who you are. I'll gladly give it to you. All right. Yes, everybody claps. Thank you so much for submitting. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you. Okay. Next one. All right. Okay. Okay. So where do I start? This one. This one, I remember I got jump scared. Oh, you and me both. You and me both when I was going through the. Okay. This one is by Mondo San. You, girl, you better be Japanese if I'm gonna be calling you with a Japanese suffix. I almost hesitate to call you Mondo San because I'm like, something tells me that you're not, and you just. Maybe you're like. I don't know, maybe that's a little too mean. Girl, you better be Japanese. Anyway, I'll tell you what my exact reaction was when I saw this one. I'll show you exactly what my reaction was. I genuinely, hang on. I think I genuinely just like, I opened the file and I was like, for a second, my face looked like this, right? I was like staring at the canvas and I'm like sitting there, and then like immediately after I was like, immediately after I was just like, you know, like I just covered my mouth and I was like, okay, yeah, I think I have to include this one. I think that there were two options. There were three options technically, but there were two where I was like, oh, they're gonna make it real hard for me to pick between one or the other because they're both really good content. You know, it's bad when I call your work good content. Where do I start? The sternum here, you know, this section between the chest. Bro's got a handle going on right here. You could pick him up like a coach bag and like carry him away, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like if I was to like turn him to the side, it kind of be looking like it's like the sternum is popping out like this. It's like a My Hero Academia character with the worst quirk ever. Handle sternum. You know, that's what bro would be called, you know. You pick that up from the center, you know. You know what I'm saying? And like that's a lot going on there already. Second of all, is we got another case of somebody who decides to draw in these lines and goes like, well, everybody does it, so I'm gonna do it too, and doesn't really understand what that is either. Oh my god, hang on, I just zoomed in. I was gonna say that I'm not even gonna talk about the abs because I don't need to. They speak for themselves. These hands, bro. Hang on, hold on. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh no. I will say, don't disrespect him like that. Nah, man, that's what the point of the stream is. I'm going to disrespect you. Where are you? Mondo. Alright. Mondo San. There's another one. I want to learn how to cell shade better. You got a lot more problems than that. Another part of the for those of you who didn't submit, another part of this this submission section was you could put in a number to say like, oh, this is how far you think you are in your art career. You put a 4, which, you know what? I'll agree with that. I'm like, 4. Would I call this just under mid though? I'll give you a 3.5. That's, I think, what I would do, you know? I'm thinking that we would go like a 3.5. Alright, this nose is crazy. We got lemon grab over here. We got this going on, what this is. Also, I'm loving that the neck is the width, almost the width of the entire rib cage that we got going on here. You know what I'm saying? We got the neck that's the entire width of the ribcage. Anybody else up here? Who in here with they neck as big as they ribs? That's pretty nuts. You know what I'm saying? Okay, first let me do my job before I go on. Okay, first of all, you got a lot of anatomy stuff that you gotta work out, G. You gotta do that before you get into anything foreshortening, because it really does look like it's like, I'm gonna try and do foreshortening around here. I started doing her job, yeah, no, it's just 5 minutes of pure exasperation. Me, yo, let's go. Who out here with their neck as wide as their shoulders. Yeah, you gotta have a lot of anatomy stuff to broke up the block neck. We out here with the roblox. We out here looking like Steve Minecraft, you know. Yeah, you gotta work out some stuff before you actually get into foreshortening, G, because what we've got right here, we don't got foreshortening, we've got a little Lego figure. You know what I'm saying? It actually is, oh, I didn't even think about this. It is genuinely Lego proportions. If I turned him into, like, a Lego figure, we're kind of, then you kind of cooked. Then we kind of, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's it. Like, if we did like this, we're kind of cooking here. No, genuinely. Oh, no, that's unfortunate. That's diabolical. That's upsetting. Okay, let's... Sorry, let me actually do my job. Oh, that's so upsetting. Yeah. We've got lots of stuff we gotta work on, alright? First of all, we've got our head. The whole body is measured in heads. I'm not gonna give you the full diagram, but... with foreshortening, when we're foreshortening, that doesn't necessarily mean that absolutely everything is going to be super, super tiny as we go down. If that is the extreme amount of foreshortening that you got, then this head is not going to look like this, you know? Because if that's the level of foreshortening, then you're also going to be foreshortening the face like crazy. And because we're looking down, we've also got to make sure every part of the face is three-dimensional, so we want to make sure that we're also treating everything on the face as if it is being foreshortened as well, right? Everything's got curves, everything's got 3 dimensions to it. Just because it is quote-unquote anime does not mean that it is going to be, you know, just because you give them a Yu-Gi-Oh-esque hairstyle as well does not mean that it's anime, just saying. But even with, like, an anime figure, if you were, like, you got bro looking up, so maybe the face isn't totally foreshortened. If we've got him looking up here, right? The neck, you're not even going to see it. It's going to be hidden completely by the head if we are foreshortening from top down. We'll have the torso be way, way flatter because we're looking down on top of it. These lines, in case you didn't know, everybody that's in chat right now, if you put your hands on either side of your neck and you go E, right, you'll be able to feel these muscles kind of flex on your neck. That's called the sternocleidomastoid. That's what these lines over here are. Those go from the back of your ear down to your jugular notch, which if you press at the base of your neck, you'll feel a little U-shape. Don't press too hard, you're going to choke yourself. But you can feel a little U-shape right there. That's what the muscle connects to. So knowing that, the jugular notch is also directly in the center of your collarbone. So that's kind of what those lines would be doing. Right? You felt it. Excellent. I'm glad you have regular human anatomy. Right? We're going to be looking down. I'm going to see the chest here, right? Notice how super, super flattened out this is. And that's because we're looking top down. So we're actually going to be looking on top of our shoulders, not our chest. We won't see this. This whole thing. I know you wanted so badly to draw pecs, but I'm so sorry for this. You can't. Not when you're in this angle. Instructions unclear, just broke my collarbone. Right, we're gonna have a little bit of the stomach popping out here, just a little bit, right? We're gonna treat the whole body as if it is like a cylinder. We're going downwards, right? We've got a lot of curves happening here. And then we've got the hips, which you can kind of draw as like an underwear shape. Notice that I'm keeping this curve consistent no matter what. Then we've got our legs, which are also going to be really, really tiny looking. And then the feet. Foreshortening is all about compression. Then we've got the arms, which you can see kind of the tops of the arms going like this, and then the hands will end at the hips right there. Right, because they're going outwards, they're not going down, so they're not as foreshortened, but they're still foreshortened, right? Foreshortening is all about compression. There's a beautiful saying that artists use sometimes. It's called draw what you see, not what you think you see, right? And the real heavy difficulty with foreshortening is that a lot of the things that you're very used to drawing will no longer be visible because everything is going to be compressed and closed in on themselves. Compressed and covering up each other, and it's going to be really hard to take a look at everything, right? So that's why I'm like, you've already got, like, the fact that I made fun of you for having, like, a handle in the middle of Bro's chest, you're not ready for this. That's what I'm saying. Also, the other pieces that you gave me, I'll be 1000%. That was not happening. Bro is a lunchbox, so true. You know, we got, like, this belly button would be right here, right? As this curves around. We got the hips. And the knees. So we go into the calves. And the tops of the feet. Alright. We got this kind of magic going on here. And, you know, right, you can already see that kind of difference, right? First of all, he doesn't have a handle. Second of all, I didn't draw in ovals for the abs. Pretty crazy stuff, right? I drew in hands, actual hands. That's pretty nuts. But no, the lunchbox ass build. No, that's what I'm saying. Like, genuinely. But no, you got a lot to work out before that, right? First of all, you need to learn how to draw. I could have just said learn how to draw. First of all, learn how to draw. Oh, that's so mean. Yeah, my biggest suggestion is don't just hang on, I'm gonna look at the rest of your pieces real quick. I'm gonna soul read you a little bit more. Where are you? Mondo San. Girl, again, I hope you're Japanese. See, just based on these, either you really like One Piece or you really like Bleach. Maybe you like both. I don't know. Or you're extra annoying and your favorite anime of all time is Solo Leveling. So, it's one of those, you know? Just based on this, right? So, I know this is gonna sound hard. This is gonna be the toughest thing you've ever done in your entire life, okay? The references you should use are real people. I know. Absolutely horrible suggestion. Horrifying suggestion. Because why would I ever mess with your precious anime references? But I swear on my life, every anime artist knows how to draw realistically. And I promise you, if you use an actual, human being, like, it'll help a lot, okay? It'll help you, because there's a difference between looking versus observing, alright? If you looked at a person, you would notice that this doesn't happen, right? You would also notice that there are not pure rectangles for the abs. It's shocking. Absolutely shocking revelation, right? You'd probably notice instead that maybe if they're more muscular, they might have a small gap between their chests, but it isn't going to be that big. More often than not, you're going to have them, especially if they're not totally from the front, you're going to have that shape kind of touching, right? Collarbone right there. And when we get to the actual abdomen portion of this, right, we've got our belly button in the center. We've got this sort of arch, which is where our rib cage kind of ends. We've got, like, suggestions of the abs, right? We've got, like, little suggestions of abs that are going on, right? We don't need the full thing. I promise you, I swear on everything, you don't need to outline every single shape that you see. There's this beautiful thing that's called line weighting, and you can have a thing where, like, the more defined areas you can line with a darker pen, and then the less defined areas you can have more of a suggestion, right? There's a beautiful thing that's called, I think it's called closure in Gestalt theory, where based on like previous knowledge or based on like suggestions of things that are drawn, our brains fill in the rest, right? So I promise you, people will get that bro has a 6-pack if you just added a couple of lines. You don't need to have the full thing, you know what I'm saying? There's that magic that goes on. What else can I say? I swear I'm missing something. What did you say you wanted to learn? What was the thing that you said? Learn how to cell shade better. I'm just not the best way to go about it for an anime-like style. Do you want to know something amazing? Is this kind of like blurring? Okay, so the face and the body, they're not just a smooth surface, right? The face has something, I don't remember what the actual model is called, but they've got planes of the face, you've got planes of the body, right? All that quote-unquote anime shading is it's cell shading. And if you don't know what cell shading is, it is just, like, it's not thinking about, like, blending, per se. It's just a lot of flat shadows, right? So if I'm gonna go in, and I'm like, I'm gonna shade this guy, right? I'm taking the skin tone. Ooh! Whoops. Did I have my... I had huge hitter on. That's funny. Let's say that I've got... is going on, right? I don't need a soft brush. I don't need anything. I'm gonna keep this same brush. I'm gonna hue shift, add a shadow. Isn't that bonkers? I can add like a little bit of red for subsurface scattering. We've got a tutorial on subsurface scattering. It's ancient, but it's there. And highlight. Isn't that crazy? Whoa. 2 seconds. Right. And you don't even need to worry about it. You know what I'm saying? Also, make sure you're looking for your light source. Bro kind of looks like he's in the... What is it? The... What's that one song? Lady Gaga, Bruno Mars. Oh my god. I don't know why I keep thinking Die in a Fire. That's not right. That's... I don't remember it. It's the one song by Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars. You know how there's like a part in that music video where there's just lights that are coming from everywhere? Well, they're this one. That's what this is kind of looking like right now. There's no specific light source. It's just they went, okay, now flash every light possible, and then we've got some kind of shadows going on here, right? That's kind of what this is giving. So make sure that you're understanding where your light is coming from, and then, you know, if it protrudes from a surface, it's gonna have a shadow, right? And all you gotta do is this kind of hard shading, right? You don't really need to worry about blending or anything. Just as long as the general shadow is there, you've got it. So I don't really know where the light source is, because you've got this half of the body in shadow, but then you've got the jacket as if it's kind of... Like, this would not be in light right here. Like, hang on, let me just... This would not be in light right here. This would be covered up by this little thing. I don't know how this collar thing is working. That's not happening. I don't know why this is lit up either, if we're going from the side, because this entire back piece, oh, crazy folds, by the way. It's giving lightning. Kind of looks like he's like... Oh my god, I didn't even notice the gray vignette around all of him. I didn't even notice that. We've got like a whole, like, he's slowly descending into the shadow realm we've got going on here. No wonder he's got this hairstyle. He is a Yu-Gi-Oh character. But we're like going back in here, you know. That's nuts. But yeah, there's no light source happening here. So just make sure you're... Remember, he's sinking. He genuinely is. But okay. We'll call that one. Applause for Mondo San. Again, I hope you're Japanese. Applause. Thank you so much for submitting. Reach out to me afterwards if or when you see this this stream. If you want this working file, please. I will hand it to you. I hope you have a good one. I hope you reference a human being later on in your life. All right. Oh, this person's next. Okay. Next one is by Connor. Hang on, okay, wonderful. Okay. I picked this one specifically because of what he said in his submission. Okay. I picked this one specifically of what he sent his submission, Connor, over here, who gave himself an 8. Okay, that's fine. I wouldn't say 8. I'd probably say maybe 6.5 to 7, but okay. Alright. It says in here, please tell us a bit about your artwork or share any other details that might help us help you. First sentence out the gate. I do not, all caps, I do not plan to change my proportions. My characters will always be too long and have heads that don't fit through their collars. Okay. You're at like a 9, I'm gonna need you to go back down to like a 6, like a 5, okay? You're being a bit... You're being a lot for somebody who's submitting their artwork to a roast stream and decided that the lighting around your characters looks like a cartoon character decided to take a bite out of the side. Whoa! Hang on, I'd never rotated this. There's a lot going on here. The head proportioning is not your biggest problem. And then he also said that he needs more work making the collars fit together like orange, probably. The colors are not your problem. Your colors are fine. There's a lot more going on here. Okay, I didn't rotate this bad boy. Oh, I love it when Kevin, I love it when people are like, oh, you can't tell me what to do. It's my style, bro. It's my style. I'm gonna give you all, everybody in chat right now, I'm gonna give you a beautiful, beautiful lesson, okay? Sometimes your style is the problem, okay? I know. Absolutely devastating thing to hear. Sometimes your style is the problem. Okay. Alright. What do you want to do? You want to do this as a career as well. Okay. Well, there's your immediate problem, is that you came in telling me that you'll never change. That's pretty crazy, right off the gate. You look like you played Friday Night Funkin'. Maybe you really like Vivzy Pop, too. The stick figure animator was probably your favorite growing up. And I'm thinking you like Adobe Flash animations. Okay. That sounded so derogatory. It is! It is! I have a vendetta against Newgrounds. Regardless. Let's get into this, because this is... It's giving. I don't know what, but it's giving. Something tells me you also like Bendy and the Ink Machine. That one came out of nowhere. There's a feeling that I have. What kind of Flash animations? Probably, again, like Friday Night Funkin', Newgrounds, Friday Night Funkin', the Stickman ones that were really popular at a certain point in time. Those ones were also, you know. Steven Universe! Oh, you're so right. Yeah, you also look like you like Steven Universe. She's just predicting artist lore. I think I can. Like, I think I could. Again, it's not your head size that's a problem. There's a lot going on here. First of all, how are we turning our heads this far back when we're looking at the entire back of this person, right? That's not happening. If you want this person to be looking all the way back, first of all, this head shape, this is... Hang on, because if we've got this going on here, you're missing part of your cranium is the first thing. You can do whatever the heck you want. I don't care. I'm actually asking you to make your heads bigger. This here, if we continue this back here, if this is the back of the neck, does that mean that your head ends like this? Oh no, Invader Zim! Okay, that's what we're doing, like. Alright, I'm actually asking you to make this bigger. If we move the hair back here more, then we've got a full cranium going on. We've got they have a head again! Oh my god, that's pretty crazy. These are crazy sideburns, by the way. Whoa! Those are pretty intense. Make the ear a little bigger, too. That'll probably help. You can already feel that this head feels more filled out just by doing that. Isn't that nuts? Wow. Almost like taking advice is crazy and awesome and cool. You can have this little lip thing here if you want. Does that mean that... Oh, you're the type of person that doesn't draw noses. Here's the thing. Okay, wait. I don't know how I'm reading this. Okay, so is this supposed to be like an implied like top of the thing here and the nose is actually down here? Or is this your nose? Is bro a who from Whoville? Oh no. Who is that one emo who from Whoville that like people made edits for after Horton Hears a Who? You know, please tell me, does anybody know his name? Does anybody know his name? I don't remember his name, but people made like sad edits of him because he was voiced by no, not the one Slay. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. You know the what do you call it? The hang on. I'm looking it up. Is it JoJo? Okay, JoJo. The Horton Hears a Who. JoJo. Who was he voiced by? Jesse McCartney. Hang on. Oh, you're gonna hate me. Hey. Oh, why is it upside down? Oh, it's because this is upside down. You know what I mean? Do you see it? Do you see it? Please tell me you see it. Do you know what I mean? Like, if that is what the nose is, like, if that's supposed to be the nose, you know what oh no, oh no, I am so sorry. That's upsetting. That's devastating. That is if the nose is that's what it is. Like, if this is just like the top cell shading right here, and then the nose is down here, we've got a lot going on there, you know, but regardless. Yeah, fill out the head where I actually want you to make it bigger. Again, big thing that you've got going on here, other than this, like, obviously there's like, the neck is here. If we've got the neck back here, we might want to bring the shoulder over here instead. So then it's more like the body twists, and then we have the back there, right? So it's more like this. This is a much, like, flashier pose. This hand is crazy. I actually like this hand pose. If we've got, like, this is a little bit of a flashier pose, but it makes more sense, like, pose-wise, you know? Gosh, these are long legs. Gosh, these are long legs. This is, oh, what's that one anime? The one with the crystal people. Not Steven Universe. The anime one. Lustrous something, I think is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like the... Hang on. Stairwell, are you Connor? Is this you? Cause Connor gave me two names, Mog, Bo, my BB, and Connor, and I'll be honest, I'm gonna say Connor. Okay, it's not you. Okay. I was gonna say, I'm like, you cannot show up in here. I just kind of recognize it. Okay, I see. Oh, that's the bottom of the nose. Oh, no. Oh, wait, yes it is! Oh, no, because this is happening here. No, because this is the shadow. No, bro! Oh, this is the whole nose. Like this. Oh, no, you're cooked. You're cooked, G. If this is what this is supposed to be, like that. No! Oh, bestie. No, bro. Oh, you can't see it. I have my hands on my head, bro. I look like that. He has been pug. It is like a pug. Oh. Gee. Connor. Okay. Alright, let's keep going. Okay. So if we've got... Yeah, we need a little bit of a turn of the body here, right? Because if this turn kind of makes the pose just make a little bit more sense. No, Clockworx. You set it up. Anyway, your hands are actually good. Your hands are fine. These eyes are... Yeah. Anyway, here's another brilliant, wonderful, beautiful case of people drawing in forms of the face and not really knowing what they are, right? Or just forms that they see everybody else do when they're like, oh, that's cool, I'm gonna do it too. They don't really know what this is. The indent, right, if I was to draw this on like somebody who's a little bit more, slightly more realistic, right, it's still very anime-esque, but regardless. Right, this little indent here, this forms up here, this top of the indent is the eyebrow bone, right? this indent here is where your eyes start, because what that does is it's showing off where your eye sockets are, because there isn't any bone there. It sinks in, so that's why there's this indent. This then is the top of the cheekbone, and our nose rests a little bit below that. So the fact that you've got the nose above the cheekbone, if I translated that to this, we've got the... Oh. Oh, no. No, 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 no. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. Okay. No, but yeah, I would, if you really want to keep this like this, I just move it down here, dog. This is just gonna look a little bit better. You don't obviously have to draw the nose like that. If you just want your little, like, line like this and a little, like, highlight, that's chill. You can keep it like that. Look at how much better that looks instantly, you know. Don't body shame. I will body shame as much as I want if the illustration looks like this. That's so mean. Sorry. Yeah, down here, you can keep this little line thing if you want, and then a little bit of highlight there. That's chill. If you want to do that, that's okay. But that's what this little stick out is. That's what that's meant to be. And then if you choose to come on as strong as you did in your submission thing, where you're like, I'm not gonna change my style for anybody, then you're gonna have a real hard time, buddy. You're gonna have a real rough time. Okay. Let's see. What else about... Anything else about this guy? No. He's fine. Let's go back to this character then. Okay. If this is meant to be goopy here, like this kind of thing, let's move this over here. So we've got like a second section over here. If this is meant to be like kind of goopy, oh, I shouldn't. No, don't cut it. There we go. If we're supposed to have some kind of goopiness going on here, you've already got such like a not cell shaded, but like a less you already got like a lineless kind of like soft kind of look going on here. If this is meant to be more goopy, because right now the way that you've shaded it, it looks more like satin, like it's got the same kind of texture as that. Make sure any style, doesn't matter, you are able to tell the difference between certain textures. So if we've got something that's a little goopier, just do that, and you've got like a much nicer... Let me use a different brush actually. If we do this magic, then we're instantly making it look a little bit more shiny, as if it's like slime by comparison to satin, because again, satin, it's like shiny but not like as shiny, right? You can kind of feel that difference instantly, you know. You know, and even with the shading, you can do like this magic, and it's got that kind of like rounded, goopy kind of painted look. Kind of looks like paint, right? You don't really, the shinier that it is, the less you need to render it out. It's like the more cell shaded you might want to make it. Oh, I just hit my microphone. I'm so sorry. The less cell shaded you might want to make it, because it'll probably look better that way. So this is also a case though of where the heck is the light source, because it seems to be coming from over here, but we've got like some shading here, so then I would actually not add any shadow, not any highlights on this one regardless. It's like we'd have that, and maybe a little bit hint like that if you wanted to, but I probably wouldn't. Yeah, on the edge of the cube here, you got something kind of good going on here, but if it is like, again, you softened it so it kind of looks like he's like a soft cube, which maybe that's what you want to go for, but this like sharpen up the edge, and this will kind of make it look a little bit better over here. Yeah, let's just kind of paint this in just a smidge so it doesn't look as rough, you know. There we go. This kind of feels a little bit better, like 3D wise, you know. Yeah, if the light's coming from over there. Okay. Okay. Yeah, your colors are not the problem. Your colors are fine. You're looking at the wrong thing to improve. I'm like, there's like like the most minor things, right? In which then realistically, if anybody in chat is ever struggling with picking colors, your colors are probably not the problem, it's your values. Because if you've ever seen those, like, that challenge that went around for a while where, like, Procreate users would be like, let me do the blind color picking challenge, and they'd, like, do, like, make a little twirl of colors off to the side and make it black and white, and just do nothing but color pick, and then make, like, a painting based on, like, values only. What those did, if you didn't know, what it did is it proved that realistically your color choices don't matter, it's your values. And that's how some artists work, is they work with values exclusively, and then they just do gradient maps over top, or they do just textures over top. And it doesn't really matter what like color it is, it just it needs to make sure that it's like, oh, if it's a highlight, it's gotta be a very bright white adjacent color. Or it's like, oh, if it's a shadow, it's just gotta be a very dark color, right? Doesn't necessarily matter. It's just gotta be the right thing, right? Which is the Monet way of working, quote unquote. It's very impressionistic, where it's like your colors are more or no, it's not impressionistic, but it's because impressionistic is they rely on color contrast by comparison to value contrast. Regardless, your colors are fine. It's just the fact that you gotta group your values better. So if you're like, oh, it's like I can't, it's like these two colors don't look good together, it's like, well, do they work with shadow or whatever? It's like, how well do they work with shadow? Or, like, do they look good with shadow and stuff like that? This hand is a bit of a mess. So if we have this arm here holding this out, alright. All of you, every single one in chat, okay? If you see what this hand is doing, it's holding this vial off to the side while the forearm is pointed outwards, and so you've got your shoulder, you're moving your shoulder back, you point your forearm outwards, and you're gonna try and have your fingers point in the same direction that your chest points. Okay? I want all of you to try doing this pose right now. And I want you to tell me how much that hurts. Okay? Right? If you, again, take your arm, push your shoulder back a little bit, rotate your forearm so it's pointing outwards, and then try and rotate your wrist so your fingers are pointing in the same direction as your chest. Okay? It shouldn't work. It's not working, right? Because that hurts. That hurts a lot. Okay? Let me do it let me draw it in a way over here. Alright? So, because this person's chest is pointing to the side over here. Oh, actually, this is, okay. If this person's chest is pointing over to the side here, what's happening, let's say that this is the neck, right? We've got the chest pointing this way. There's the shoulder here. We've got the arm, the forearm, moving back like this. The upper arm moving back like this. We've got the forearm coming out over here. And then we've got the wrist pointing this way. And then the orb is like this. Okay? Another hand is like this. Right? So we're pointing it and it's like cricked like that. That's not happening. That is not. What if they're double jointed? My fault, gang. What if it's his style? What if it's his style? Anyway, the way that you'd fix this, it's really easy. Unfortunately, involves foreshortening. It's like, I'm so sorry, but you have to do a little bit more work. But you just foreshorten the forearm a little bit more. Have the fingers be in the center here instead. And then your thumb out like this. And then you can have the potion. Or whatever this is. Right, because now it's pointing towards you and this isn't that bad. Right, because then you got your wrist aligned with your forearm and all this is now is just the hand holding out towards. Right? You know? So this feels a little bit better. I just have that pointed towards here. I mean, this is a tangent, but it's also like, whatever, I guess. It's not that bad. Okay. Yeah. We'll call that done. Everybody give claps to Connor, even for the immediate sass that he put into in his submission. That was not appreciated, but I'm glad it made good content because I can just make fun of you for that. Everybody give claps. Everybody, thank you for submitting, Connor. Again, if you watch this, if or when you watch this, feel free to reach out. I'll give you this file. It's all yours. Layers and all. So, oh, by the way, because all of you are digital, I'll be giving you PSDs. PSDs are technically coined by Photoshop, but they are universal working files, so it shouldn't matter what program you work in. You should be able to open the layers of this, no problem. He doesn't want the file. It's not in his style. That's crazy. All right. Thanks so much for submitting. Hess. Now, by contrary to Connor, this message was lovely. She was so nice. She submitted hers. Hess, who gives herself a 4. I'd probably give you a little more than that. I might give you a 5, because this is, I'll say it right now, this was the worst one of the 3 you submitted. The other 2 were not bad at all. I'm like, I would give you maybe a 5 or a 6. Like, I wouldn't, like, you're not bad. Like, this is pretty rough, like, in terms of, like, painting, but your other ones that were not painted, like, I didn't include them because they weren't as fun. Not as fun in terms of, like, they weren't bad. That was the problem. I'm just kidding. I didn't only pick bad ones. This is a really good one in here, actually. But no, I would give you like a 5 or a 6, maybe. 4 is a little mean on yourself. On the other hand, she said, I've never been a really big fan of I've never really been a fan of my coloring! Exclamation point. It always seems very muddy and dull. Also anatomy, I suppose. Humans are very complicated subjects, and seeing how they are my preferred subject, any help with that would be great. Lovely. Open. Very kind. Very great. Also wants to do this as a career. You know, we love a good open mind. I'll give you points for that. We love a good open mind. Though, like I said, the painting's a little rough. Just based on your style. Here's the thing, is that you have the kind of style where I'm like, I could clock you, but I could also be super wrong. Either you really loved Disney Pixar as a child, or specifically, you really liked How to Train Your Dragon. And I say that only because of the way you draw your people. Specifically that's it. But realistically, you haven't given me much in terms of where I can, like, oh, you're like this kind of internet person. You may have also really enjoyed Encanto. You kind of give that, too. Like, you really enjoyed Encanto. Which, you know, that's a really good movie. But, you know, it kind of shows. But, again, I could be super wrong. Like, this is the one person where I'm like, I'm not super confident with that soul read. You know, I feel like a fortune teller right now, where I'm like, I'm trying to, like, whoa. Or I'm trying to, like, you ever seen those clips? Oh, there was this one, oh no. Oh gosh, what was it? There was this one woman on TikTok, I believe it was Curtis Connor who made a video on it, where she was saying, like, she was like a medium, but she was absolutely a scam artist. So, like, she would do, like, readings over TikTok Live, and she would be like, it's like, was he your father? No. Alright, was he your uncle? No. You know? That's kind of how I be feeling with this stream. You know? So funny. Anyway, let's get into this. Now, unfortunately, Hess, what you have done is you have fallen, with painting this specifically, you have fallen into the trap of, it's painting, therefore I must use a soft brush at every angle that I can possibly find, which, you know, is not true. What I'm also noticing is that you also do not quite have the brush control of a painter. For those of you who are like, oh, I really want to get into painting, I don't know where to start. Painting, digitally is a little different than painting traditionally, because painting traditionally tends to kind of have the same method for a lot of things. Painting digitally doesn't. You have like a lot of extra tools. You've got lasso, you've got layer locks, you've got things like that, which traditionally you would be using like tape and whatnot to do that. But the one thing that kind of remains the same, whether you are working traditionally or digitally, is you want to start big and then get smaller, okay? And you also want to make sure that you are getting smaller on areas of detail that are, like, within the foreground or within your main characters that you're looking at right here, right? Because we've got, like, all, like, this is fine, right? We've got, like, our sharper details out here, but then the second sharpest details are in these picture frames all the way in the back that we don't realistically care about, right? We're not looking back here, right? We're not looking at any of this. We're looking at this, right? This composition's also a little rough. Well, let's do this. Watch this. I'm gonna do some magic real quick. Okay. I'm gonna take this. Oops. I'm trying to see, like, where's this kid's hair end? There we go. That instantly feels better. You know why? Because there's way too much headroom in here. What's happening is you're like, oh, I really want to add in all these tiny little details because it's like, oh, I really want to make there be, like, you know, like Easter eggs or whatever. But the problem with that is that all you're doing now is just adding an extra noise. This all is negative space. And what all it's doing is it's making this composition feel really awkward because your characters aren't really the center of your attention. So I'd prefer, you could move these guys here. And what I'd also do, this perspective is really, really rough. We're going in here. We have our two characters. If we're looking at them, because what's happening is the background, right? The background is in this perspective where everything is going to be top down. Our characters were looking at them head on. So what this kind of looks like, if I was to composite this off to the side, we've got, like, if let's say that we have, like, we're looking at them from the sides over here, right? We've got character one that's kind of in the back here. We got character two, the woman, the elf ears, right? What this looks like is the floor is like here and the walls are like here. It's kind of looking like a, what do you call it? Like a compact that you'd have mirrors with. That's what this is kind of vibing with. So that's a problem immediately off the bat, right? So a link between world vibes. You're right. That's super it. That's exactly what it is. So let's fix that. Two things we could do, easy peasy. One, change that entire background, or two, change both of those people. And would you believe me if I said the background's the easier one? All right. If we've got these two characters, we're just gonna copy paste these guys. If we just took these two characters, I'm gonna show you how painting works after this. You also kind of seem like the type of artist where you do have traditional work, but you don't. You're like, I really want to do digital, and you're kind of trying to translate it, but you don't really understand how. Alright. Easier part is actually changing the characters, right? What we're gonna do, this floor is gonna be more like down here, maybe. We can actually see a little bit of the ceiling, maybe. And then we have the bookshelf over here. And we're doing this magic. Right? And then we've got the window. Like this. Instantly better. You know why? Because now they're in the same perspective. We're looking at them head on, right? You wouldn't even see this rug, realistically. It'd be kind of there. And then we've got, like, pictures down here, right? This feels a lot better. And that's, again, genuinely just because we're looking at them head on. And the background is now head on, too, right? So, perspective doesn't matter what it is. Perspective, like, it could be, like, something tiny like this. It could be you don't even have a background at all. Everything has perspective. Surprise! It doesn't matter if you've got a background or not. Everything has perspective. Woo! You gotta learn your perspective, no matter what. I know, it's so scary. Right, so it's like you could do that. Oh yeah, you could also move the boy down a bit. If he's supposed to be taller than her, you could also just... Because if he's taller than her, then that makes sense. Like, he would be bigger looking. But you could really easily just also do, like, Yeah. And you don't really have to worry about moving anybody down. You can just do that. You know? And he's looking at her again. You know, that could also work. Depends on what's happening there. Easy peasy. You just change the line of sight. But yeah, the reason why I say, like, the background is easier to change than the people, because this background, this means that you gotta foreshorten these people like crazy. If we decided that we wanted to keep the background the same, which this perspective is also really rough, but I don't really want to get into that too much. If we wanted to keep this background the same, we would have to draw these people, like just about as extreme as that last guy's perspective that they were trying to do. What was their name? I don't remember. What the earliest one, like the second one that we did, right? We would have, like, this be, like, almost completely top down. Like that. Which some people think that top down is easier than bottom up, which I agree personally, but that's to me, right? But yeah, you would have to foreshorten, which I don't think you're there yet, but yeah, if you wanted to keep this background, the foreshortening would be like that, which is pretty intense, which obviously we don't have to do right now. Okay, another big thing, painting, right? Painting, you want to go big to small, right? Actually, why don't I just keep this? We'll give this a max so that I can work on the painting here. Oh, you know this one, Kevin. I didn't even know who this was. Okay. She's like, is she like a regular in the Discord or something? Or like... I should save this. It's a good idea. Oh, active in general. Okay, okay, okay. Easy peasy. Very nice. But yeah. Yeah, we always want to work big to small. And usually when we have things that are not the center of our attention in the back here, we don't really want them to be brought down too small. We can keep them nice and blurred. Because, like, realistically, we don't want to take away from our people up front. Oh, this isn't a window. That's a picture frame, too. Okay. My fault, gang. Yeah, if we just do... This is gonna look awful, but, you know, whatever. I mean, just blur that back out so that it stays in the background, doesn't take away from anything. A little bit easy peasy, right? Come back up here, right? We can keep some softness going on, like, obviously, like, the cheeks, we can keep this kind of being nice and soft, right? Because it's not like it's going to be, like, our biggest points of detail. It's just, like, an accent, but... edge of our face, stuff like this, it's like we want to keep that a little bit sharper, right? Sharpen that back up, right? Keep that nice and, like, defined. Nose as well. Good to keep the tip of the nose defined. If we are not looking directly from the front, then we want the bridge of the nose defined as well, right? Because it's not like the bridge disappears completely. Right, and keep that there. Hair as well, you know? Define that back out. And it's a little intimidating to use, like, a harsh, sharper brush when we're painting, but, like, usually helps with our shape definition. Right? The biggest thing with painting is it is both a mix of... it is a mix of cell shading and soft shading. You kind of just need to know where to use each, right? Look at this case, you can... Oh, I should have done this on another layer. That's okay. You can automatically... oh, well, you can kind of see it over here, right? You can see how much better this feels by comparison to this, right? This one is, like, really, really, like... kind of, like, everything feels like it's, like, sort of really soft. Doesn't feel defined. This one feels a lot more defined. Right. Artist in chat. Who? Where? Where are you? Oh, Opal Dagger? That's you? Hess? Oh, she can't hear. Okay. Hello. Welcome in. Artist in chat, everybody point. Yeah, here too. Because this... the thing with this as well is it's like, you can keep in this darkness here if you want. You can do that. But if we're doing a type of painting where it's like we have like a little bit of line art and we want to do that with everything too, it's like it's totally fine. It's like I do that too sometimes, but like you want to make sure that everything is defined. It doesn't feel too sketchy. We want it a little bit more. We want to clean this up a little bit more because this does feel a little bit... This feels pretty unfinished right here. You know? Like you can already kind of feel that. Feels a little bit better. Right, and again, start big, work smaller as you go. Right, slowly we can get more and more defined as we render it out. And it just gets a little bit easier to read as we go. You know? And again, a mix of soft and harsh, right? A mix of soft and cell. Right, some areas we're going to have them be a little bit sharper, some areas we're going to have them be a little bit softer. And it just helps with the general feeling of the painting. Right, just having a mix of both. You can feel how much cleaner this feels too, right? It's like we look it back and forth. Oh, I just noticed this. Don't use gray for shadows. That's not what we want. There's a little bit of blue-gray here, yeah. Try and keep this saturated. It's like, I don't really like saturation that much, but like, we want to keep this saturated, because what this is doing is it's killing that color. Don't do that. You're making them look like zombies. We don't want that. Let's make that more... There's also a lot going on with the anatomy, but that's okay. Oh wait, you said you wanted to learn about anatomy. Never mind. Lower these eyes. These eyes are way too high up in the head. Usually we want our eyes about halfway down the face. So let's do this magic. Again, it's like you could do like the kind of more Pixar-y way of working if you want, but like I would probably move this down more. And then move this one down a little bit more too. There are measurements of the face. Oh, feel that. That's a lot better. There are measurements of the face, right? There are things that you probably want to keep in mind when you're drawing a person, right? It's like there are certain measurements, certain placements that every bit of the face has, right? And like that's stuff that you memorize over time. The biggest thing is that the face is measured in eyes, right? So when we are what do you call it? When we're rendering out a person. When we're drawing a person, the face is measured in eyes. Usually it's 5 eyes across for the entire face, right? And like the face itself, like, yeah, so normally what we want is we want to be able to fit one more eye over here and then another 1 or 2 off to the sides, right? That's like 5 eyes across. Usually it's like the nose in the center, and then like we've got like the about 1/3 to halfway of the eyes where the mouth ends up going. Like that's very, very standard measurements, you know, that kind of thing. You can feel that too. Like look at the difference immediately. I just moved the facial features down just a smidge. That feels so much better, right? By comparison to one or the other. Like realistically, they're all kind of in the right position already. It's just they're a little too high up. So you just move that down, easy peasy. It is good. Is not too bad, you know. Yeah, and then you could like do the thing that I mentioned earlier. It's like if you added a little dip in here, that would be like where your eye sockets are. A little bump out for the cheek, then come back in for the cheekbones. You could do that too if you want it. Realistically, you could just keep this like kind of ovalish shape of the face. That wouldn't kill you, right? It's again, it's very Pixar-y. But you could do this as well, and that kind of gives more anatomy of the facial structure, you know, that kind of thing. Oh, when you're also, yeah, you did it with her, you didn't do it with him, though. Just make sure that you're curving this more. It's like you bring it back here. Yeah. Yeah. I'm being a little nicer with this one, because realistically, there isn't a lot here that, like, disappointed me. You know, I'm tired, so I'm like, sometimes I'm like, if I don't see anything that I'm immediately like, oh, I'm like, okay, yeah, there's just things here. But yeah, I can bring this back out here, you know, and also because she's nice, she seems nice. I'm like, you're chill, you're open to change, and I like that, I enjoy that. Because like Clockworx was in here. It's like, even though I roasted the crap out of them, it's because they asked me to. They're like, just, I think I said it too. I was like, it's like they asked me to go crazy on them. I like you, you know. But yeah, just like lower that. I know we should. I'm pretty sure we have recordings. Oh, also some of your shadows, I darken them even more. Like especially like right here. Like really, really get dark, and then your values will be a lot better. Let's do some magic here. It's not too bad though. Yours is not too bad by comparison to others I've seen. We're doing some magic. We're gonna take this layer, put it over everything, set it to color, and what we've done is we can see like the difference in our values, right? You can kind of see that the shirt is blending in with your original one here. You can see the shirt is like not too different from your background or like your little rug there, so it do kind of make like one big shape there. Same with your arm. The arm is kind of blending in back there. It's a very minor thing. It's like, it's not too bad all in all. Like, it's not the worst. But like the small things here, like you can see like the ear, if I just darken those values a lot more, it looks a lot better over there. You could probably darken some more over here, maybe make the shirt darker, the background lighter, you know, stuff like that. You know, it just helps, you know, small little things like that. Not too bad, you know. Oh, I didn't even do my you know, yeah. This eye needs to be a bit wider here. I need to be wide. Oh, ears. Ears, usually you want them bottom of the nose, top of the eye. So the fact that they're both kind of down there, a little bit small looking. It's really Pixar-esque to keep them lower, but our ears are actually pretty big, so like you could like do that magic. That makes them feel a little bit better. You know, do that. Realistically, though, if he's looking this way, yeah, it wouldn't actually be that curved, but your eyes are also getting a little crossed there. You might want to move that over, but yeah, no, not too bad. All in all. All right, everybody give Hess claps. Thank you so much for submitting. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to look at your work. Appreciate you. You know where to find me. If you want this, it's all yours. Thank you so much for being here as well. Excellent, wonderful. Everything's so disproportionate. That's okay. You just gotta figure that out as time goes on, you know? Alright. Thanks so much for submitting. Thanks for being here. Okay. This next person. This is the one where I was like, ooh, okay. This one is, they told me, they're like, she said two things. She's like, you can call me one of two things. You can call me Sparkles or Edalyne. That's a sick name, Edalyne. You sound like a fantasy bartender. You know, it's like you come up to me and it's like, hey, it's like, can I get you a? And it's like, what can I get you? And you ask for a cocktail with newt's breath. You know, I'm like, what? What are you talking about here? You gave me the options of Sparkles or Edalyne. I'll be 10,000 with you. One of those is way cooler than the other. You know? That's a way cooler name. Edalyne. Edalyne is what you told me. Where are you? Let's see. Edalyne. Sparkles or Edalyne? Yeah, Sparkles are also fine with you using my name, Edalyne or Eda for short. Yeah. Edalyne is so cool, dude. What are we talking about? I'll call you Sparkles, though, because that's your first thing he said. Sparkles, she said it's a two-way perspective piece I did from one of my classes. It's in grayscale. I would have loved to use color this. Decided to draw my demon OC Grant in his bar tavern at the kind of... I think it was embarrassed. Great. Sorry, I'm just reading this. Has big gameplay for the tricky elements feeling like so you are doing a cactus. Garnish has taller me today, and it's way so tall for the doors. No, that's chill. There's other things going on though. You didn't notice, I don't think. You gave yourself a 7. I'd agree. You want to do this for a career. Well, you're well on your way. No, correct, Clockworx. The perspective's not the problem. Here's the thing, because you're at a really good level right now, Sparkles. Here's the thing that when you get to this level, the only thing left to be nitty-gritty, like, the only thing left to crit is the extreme nitty-gritty, okay? And once you get down to the extreme nitty-gritty, that's when you start to get really hard on yourself, because then you're looking at things like proportion, and consistency and things like that, right? And that's even harder to spot than the obvious things like anatomy and whatnot, because once you get to that kind of level, then you have to make sure that everything you're drawing is correct in another way that you might not see immediately, right? Because your brain might be fighting with both perspective and proportion and composition and stuff like that. So especially if you're doing like backgrounds and stuff, there are things that are like, oh, you know, what do you call it? There are things where it's like, oh, it's like I didn't notice this instantly, but it's like I might be noticing it now, you know, now that you mention it, right? Right, so instead of me saying it immediately, there is one big glaring thing to me that I noticed instantly. I want to see if you can figure it out. We're playing Dora the Explorer. We're Dora exploring this bad boy. Chat, what do you think I noticed instantly? Alright. It's nitty-gritty. This is nitty-gritty time. This is no longer like, oh, your anatomy's wrong. Oh, this perspective looks awful. Everything is fine. The only thing that's in here that's left is nitty-gritty. So what do you think is the one thing that I noticed that was kind of rough? Bartender is small, you're getting there. You're close. Size of the spill. Nope. Not the doll hand. Nope. Not too many lines. Lines are fine. Skull. Nope. Readability. Nope. Lighting. Nope. Person looked quite tall, but also small. You're getting there. Still seems a bit tall for the counter. You're getting there. There's one word that can encompass those. Guy. Hand perspective. Not fitting the portions. You're getting there. Perspective. You're getting there. Your friends will bring you an ice cap while you're moderating a roast. Chairs, you're getting there. There is one word, all right? It is a part of. I'm not giving this to you. I'm getting chat in here and seeing how good you are as well, because some of you are roasting as well. But I want to see if you're worth your salt. How many of you can guess the word? It starts with a P. Proportion of the person, you're getting there. Scale, you're getting there. You're very close, Raimi. Perspective, you're close. No, Kevin. Proportions! Wonderful, excellent. It's proportion. Proportion does not relate to just the person. Because everybody's saying, oh, it's the guy, right? It's the guy. It isn't just the guy. It's everything here. Everything here doesn't match in the same proportion, right? This is the size of the stool here. Based on this perspective here, this chair should also not be this big, right? This chair is ginormous by comparison to these stools. This chair should be a little bit smaller. Not that much smaller, but smaller for sure. This chair doesn't really match the perspective either, because that means this is really, really pushed far back, but it's also pretty dang large. We've got, what is it? The microphone is over here. This is the size of the microphone. That's the door, right? This is a huge microphone by comparison to that. This guy, yeah, you said he was an imp. He's taller, right? He's meant to be taller, and that's why he's that size to the door. Door's average height, right? We're getting nitty-gritty. The average height of a door is 6'6", okay? If that is the average height of the door, he's taller than the door. He is taller than 6'6". So why are these stools ginormous by comparison to this person? We've got the tankards back here, which are, like, fine, right? These goblets are about the same size of a tankard, which I would disagree would probably make the goblets smaller. The goblets are also bigger than the alcohol bottles themselves. That is much too large for this size. I love this bartender. I love this bar, though. That's awesome. The way that this looks is so cool. Right? I also would not have used Impact. That's me. I just hate Impact font. Alright, but that kind of nitty-gritty, these kind of like small things, everybody noticed the person, everybody noticed the stools, probably didn't notice this microphone back here. Probably also didn't notice that both of these chairs were wrong. Also probably didn't notice that this salt shaker is pretty dang large as well, right? Small things like this, right? Small little implied things. You also copy-pasted these models, which I would have done the same, that's okay. Small little tiny things like that are what, once you get to this kind of level, those sort of tiny little things become really, really important, because those are the kinds of things where it's like, that is what adds to the realism of a background piece, right? That is what adds to the realism of a piece in and of itself, right? Realism doesn't necessarily mean that everything looks realistic, right? Realism is also just how grounded your piece looks, right? And that usually has to deal with proportion and perspective. Those are the two big things that we are dealing with when it comes to realism of any sort of, like, illustration. That's making sure that everything is size correct, everything is correct according to size, everything is correct according to placement, stuff like that, right? But no, now that I look at it harder, what that other person said is right too. Something tells me you work in CSP, something else tells me that you work with the perspective ruler. I do too. But with that perspective ruler, or or it's just the line tool. You worked with the line tool, because there's no line weighting with any of this. Yeah, there's no line weighting. This is probably with the line tool, right? Problem with the line tool is that what you're working with is something that doesn't have any line weighting, and what that does is it makes everything feel really, really one track. It also makes it so that, like, there isn't a lot of life when it comes to your actual, like, line work, right? Because none of it has any line weighting, right? You've got line weighting with, like, the cushions on the chairs, which are also a little rough, but that's, you know, whatever. But, right, you can feel the difference between, like, the line weighting that's done on the cushions versus the fact that there's no line weighting done on the, what do you call it? On, like, the planks of the ground or the bricks or anything like that. So as much as it hurts, you usually don't want to use the line tool just because it ends up looking awful. It's like me personally, it just doesn't have enough life to it. Your lighting is good. I would also actually make it just a little more dramatic. Really easy fix. Darken that. Brighten that up. Boom. Easy peasy. Look at that drama. That's a lot better. And then when we do that, we can zoom out. That is a much better kind of focus in on that one part of the bar, right? Feel that difference, right? A lot nicer. Another thing you could do as well, these lines, they're technically not incorrect. I might make this, I might do more off to the side here though. If I was to, like, yeah. If I was to add more shadow or more light, it actually goes out more like this, but it just fades as it goes farther out. It just gets less intense. So, like, I might do that instead. It's like sharpen it at the edge of the light, but then just make it less sharp as you get farther out, you know? Just sharpen it here, then just blur it out more. It's like that probably looks a little bit better. Same thing on the other side as well. Because it isn't like it's just gone, right? It's just that it's... right? So then that looks a little bit better, so then it's like the whole bar is being lit up a little bit more, right? That feels a little bit better. Same thing over here. I would actually... so let's do that. Yeah, and then because this goes off of the... yeah, that there, then we can actually do that. So it, like, flies away more there. Yeah. Because there's a wall there, so it's like we don't have to worry about that too much. Yeah, that's a lot better. More on the top of the bar here. A little bit less on the edges of the bar here, though. I would actually lower... it's like, this does not have to be that intense. If we go... we don't actually have to add lighting to the edge of this. If we just do this, keep it in shadow the whole way around, that actually looks a lot better. Because then it separates the bar from the... because you see, like, the lighting is overhead, right? So then this lighting would probably not get to the edge of the bar where the light is, like, shining down on top of. But then that would also mean that we've got more lighting here on top of the stools as well, because that's coming top down over here. Kind of like that, right? A little bit better on this part. You know? Yeah. Again, small, super nitpicky things, kind of recognizing where your lighting is supposed to go, kind of recognizing your proportions and things like that. Small, small nitpicky things. You're at the level where it's like those nitpicky consistencies are what you need, right? So yeah, I would make these stools smaller as well. It's like, we don't need them this big. I would, like, make them, like... Well, here's the thing, is that you could change the size of the stools, or you could change the size of the guy. Like, just make him bigger. That could also work, too. It's like, if you just took the guy and just made him bigger, that probably works better. You know? It is unfortunate. This background is really awesome. I'm, like, looking at the guy himself. He does kind of... I hate to do this to you. He does kind of look like a Bitmoji. You know, like, Snapchat's, like, Bitmojis? Like, that's kind of, like, what this guy gives. I just... Because everything kind of feels like it's more stuck on than it is actually illustrated, you know? It doesn't really feel like... I can tell kind of just by the way that you draw your proportions, is what you do is you kind of make kind of like ovals and like doll bits and then kind of rearrange them. You might also be a puppet animator. That's also another thing. That kind of gives that... Edalyne! Is that you? But yeah, it is a little puppety. The folds are not quite correct over here. Hello, welcome in. Artist in chat, everybody point. But yeah, because you've got this really nice background going on, and then this guy just does not fit whatsoever. So I'm thinking, because there's a lesson that I just taught my mentorship students. It's called spatial awareness in art. I'll actually pull it up now. Because again, you're at the level where it's like everything is very, very nitpicky for you. She's seen the Owl House? No, that's her name, bro. Where is this lesson? Where did I teach this? When did I teach this? Is it this one? Yeah. Spatial awareness in art. Because when we illustrate scenes of multiple figures and objects, we're illustrating a 3D space. So we need to keep said 3 dimensions in mind so that things stay realistic and grounded, right? So for this, we need to recognize how things interact and illustrations as dioramas, blah, 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 right? In order to create a grounded piece, you need to recognize the amount of space and the shape of the space being occupied, and how things are positioned changes based on what shape and size is being occupied. Because not only do we think of how objects interact, we think of the space that we take up as people. The body takes up several different kinds of forms of space, which is why people are so complicated. We are interacting with others as much as we interact with ourselves, right? Oh, gave away the last guy. But... right, with this one, again, it's like we've got this like very 3-dimensional scene. These objects feel a little bit awkward, and then he feels really awkward and really pasted in because he doesn't really feel like he is part of this at all, you know? So let's just take all this. It's like if I took this guy and we're working with this, right? Because we have him kind of facing directly to the front while we have this perspective going on. So let's work with this instead as if we were to work with that. If this is the bar, we're facing the front of the bar. So that means that we're going to have the center of our chest here. We're probably going to have this guy, because especially if he's wiping down the table. I mean, we've got this kind of wiping down. Right? The way that the arm is also placed, there's no weight placed on the table whatsoever. It kind of looks like he's just placing his arm down there. We've got this arm going on here. Let's place the hand down. If he's actually wiping, this hand is going to be flat on the counter, right? As he is wiping it down. And then we can have the movement of the cloth as well, especially if it is being pressed downwards, right? So there we go. There's one thing that we can do. If he's looking at us, we can turn the head, but if not, and he's supposed to be at 3/4, then we keep the head in 3/4 just like the rest of the body, right? And then, if he's waving, realistically, we wouldn't have the arm out like that. We would have it more like here. Because if it's just like a quick like wave to the side like hello, we're not going to angle our arm so it's out completely to the side, because nobody really does that. If we're kind of just waving naturally, we'll have the hand sort of half down with the fingers kind of in that sort of half salute look as he waves. The tail's fine, whatever, right? But you can feel how much better that pose looks by comparison to this one. And this is your natural posing, this is your natural dynamic posing that we're looking on, right? So we want to kind of make sure that we're doing that. Lighting kind of implies it's supposed to be empty, but that's just me. Plan on the character at first. Well, then that's even better. Having the character in when you already have this entire scene set up, then that means that you've already got all this perspective that you can work with this person. And then all that it is just common sense from then on. He's wiping the counter, the hand has to be pressed onto the counter. If this is in a 2-point perspective where this guy is like off to the side here, we're not gonna have him like we're not, this is obviously an exaggeration, but if we've got like a guy in 2-point perspective, we're not just gonna draw in like this, right? And with no perspective applied, right? We're going to apply the same perspective to this person, right? That's how you make somebody feel solid. It's how you make them feel like they're in this scene, right? Spatial awareness in art. We interact with ourselves as much as we interact with the environment around us, right? And to understand ourselves, to understand an environment, we have to understand the perspective that's going on too, right? And again, same thing with the bottles too. It's like these bottles are... This one's just facing directly at us. Easiest way to draw bottles in perspective is just a bunch of cylinders. Again, if I was to draw a bottle on here, if that's the surface, we just kind of got, you know, and that's easy peasy. And all that is just following the perspective of the surface that we got, right? I'm not going to go into a whole lesson on how to do perspective, because that's going to take us ages, and, oh, you've used up your time, actually. But yeah. Claps for Sparkles. Thank you so much for submitting. Again, if you want this file after the fact, just find me. I'll send it to you. It's all yours. But otherwise, thanks so much for submitting. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you being in chat. You're almost there. There's just a lot of, like, you're at the point where it's starting to get into the nitty-gritty of, like, you've gotten your basics down. Now it's time to get harsher with yourself. That's all that this is, right? You're getting there. You're almost there. I would agree with the number you gave yourself. It's time to just get a little harder on yourself, that's all. But yes. Thank you so much for submitting. Claps for Sparkles. We've got one left. Timothy! Oh, Timothy. Okay. I already accidentally showed this one. Timothy, there you are. Timothy, what did you say? Not able to get the look of the clothing right, and the background looks off. For the Till fan art, the proportions look off. Well, there are two things in here. There was this one, and then there was another one. What is Till? Does anybody know the acronym ALNST? What does that mean? I don't know what that means. I can't get the lighting to look over. There was lighting is just the first of your problems. A 5, huh? You're giving yourself a 5. You're doing this for fun. Okay, that's a little bit better than if you were doing this for a career. Oh, Timothy. Anybody know that? The acronym that I just said? What are we working with here? I don't know this fandom. I don't know who it's like, it's fan art. I'm like, I don't know what this is. You think I'm gonna know what the acronym is? You've already... I don't know this. What is this? ALNST. Where I'm Googling it. What is this? ALNST. Alien Stage? What is this? Why did they draw them as a Weezer album? What is this? What are we... Oh my god, wait, it's this! I've seen nothing but angst. I see nothing but angst from, like, middle schoolers. What is Alien Stage? Please don't tell me that this is a... What is this? Does somebody know what Alien Stage is? No, there were two pieces. I picked this one. I think the other one was Alien Stage. Hang on. Somebody want to confirm for me? I'm curious now. Does somebody want to confirm for me? Hang on. I'm getting the other one, too. Sorry, Timothy. I'm putting you on blast. JK, I'm not sad. I'm not sorry, because you're supposed to be on blast right now. What is... Oh, yeah, it's literally called Till fan art. Hang on. Open a new window. We're just gonna download this. Hang on. We're looking at this real quick. This guy. This was the other one. I had a choice. I had a choice between this one and this one. And I was like, this is better content. But, like, I was looking at this one, too. And I was like, wait. Hang on, bro. Hold on, bro. I'm like, I'm too old, bro. I'm getting old. I'm like, I'm not even in my mid-20s yet. Why are we... I don't know what... Oh. I get about teenagers and tragedy, the perfect thing to captivate a teenage audience. Gojo? No, I don't know. I'm so, like, I don't... No clue. Anyway. Oh god. Where do I start? Okay. There's so much happening, and yet there's so little that I know where to... Don't say too old! Jalen? I can't, I don't understand what the kids are talking about, bro. No. I don't understand. I don't understand. Anyway. Yeah, I don't know where do I start? Okay. Hands. I mean, I could start with the hands. I could start with literally anything that's on here. The folds, the hands, sorry, I'm standing up for a second because I need to not sit forever. There's a lot happening here. Okay. I guess first thing I'll start with is the folds, because what do I think of Steven Universe? I have no opinions. I never watched it. You can't say too old, we're in the same age bracket. That's AoE damage. Yeah, and that's AoE damage for everyone in here. Anyway, let's flatten this. Oh, I did the wrong one. Hold on, my fault, gang. Let's do this. Lower that. Okay. Oh boy. Yeah. Another beautiful case of as long as I add enough random lines, they won't notice, dog. They will not notice, you know. Alright. And I already mentioned it, okay? All this doesn't need to happen. I don't know what we're doing here. We can have a little bit of fold going on here if we want. This pose is also, this is a lot. There's a lot going on here. We can have this, like, we can have, if we're doing action. Okay. Here's another thing, too. Because this kind of feels like this, here's the problem with poses like this, right? Where it's like, they really want to do, random lines, I choose you Swift. Here's the problem with poses like this, right? Where it's like, people are like, oh, this is gonna be the most epic pose of all time, okay? This is gonna be the most epic, awesome action pose of all time. And then they just give me, like, the most puppety looking, you know, quite literally the most puppety looking thing I've ever seen in my life, okay? And I'm like, okay, dynamic poses are not just, like, my comparison to, like, you know, like, just a regular quote-unquote pose that you do. A dynamic pose has movement, believe it or not. And what we have to do is we have to kind of adjust for everything that we're drawing, right? So, like, it's one of those things where, like, if we just have this guy, what it kind of looks like is they went, okay, I'm gonna take the photo, make it look like you're about to throw this thing, okay? And then they just have to stand still. Did you know that when people do model shoots, the models are never still? They're getting them to move, they're playing with their hair, and then they have what my brother likes to call Uzi mode on his camera, where it's just like the snapshots are just instant, and it's like you can take like 30 in like a second. And that's, like, getting, like, the really, really fast photos, right? So when you do this, it looks like they've been posing and standing still for, like, 7 seconds, and you're like, there's no movement because they're not moving, okay? If you're in the middle of drawing somebody throwing something, if they're about to throw it, we're twisting back, we're thinking like an animator, okay? If we've got one hand, and the hand is in front of the face like this, right? You know, whatever, this gives, you know... Anybody played Pokemon Sun and Moon? You know Gladion? You know his little, like, animation before you, like, fight him? That's kind of what this pose gives, but, you know, whatever. That's just me. But let's say that we've got, like, the hand going here, right? If we're reeling back, then we're gonna have this body, like, twisting, right? We're gonna have this kind of, like, twisting backwards as he's about to throw this, like, orb thing, right? Your OC is twisting back this orb thing, you know? We're gonna have this kind of twisting motion as he's about to throw it, right? And then his arm is up, or whatever. And then we've got the hand back here as he holds the orb, right? Right? And then this twist gives a little bit more movement by comparison to this, right? Because this kind of just looks like he's, like, running forwards and he's just holding it. Which maybe that is the pose, in which then that's... we've got more problems then. But this gives more, like, it is the build-up, right? This is the one thing in animation. It's the build... Yeah, it's literally called build-up. The build-up before you go and do the action, and then the follow-through, which is, like, the afterwards, right? We're illustrators. We only have so much that we can work with, so you gotta make sure that movement looks like movement. So we gotta have that build-up in here, you know? Stuff like that. Hang on. Let me test this real quick. Oh, we've got another case. We've got another case of the neck. That's the same width as the rib cage. Who up here with their neck as big as their ribs? Who up here? Who? Oh no. Okay. There's some anatomy stuff going on there. Right. Rib cage. Neck is gonna be a little bit thinner. Okay, we don't need it that crazy big, okay? This is nuts. You know what? I don't even think that you really understand what this line is supposed to be, but somehow you got it in the right spot. Back of the ear down to the jugular, not just the SCM. Ears in the right place, okay, not bad. This mouth is a lot, though. I don't even ask you to improve this. So our teeth, we can think of those as, like, horseshoes, right? If we have our horseshoe mouths kind of like this, our teeth are also like, they're shaped kind of like that, right? If we draw in kind of the skull bit here, right? If this is where our teeth are, our mandible is here, that means our jaw is going to be opened up more like this, right? So our jaw is going to be at an angle down here, and then we can draw in our mouth that goes over top of the teeth, and that tells us how much is going on there, right? This mouth is kind of just positioned really weird. We've got a weird kind of like angle going on there, and our teeth isn't really placed correctly. So just remember that our teeth are shaped like horseshoes. They're like the letter U, you know, stuff going on there. What else can I say? Hands, when we're drawing in our hands, we don't want... I know hands are hard. I know they're tough. I know. So let's say that we can split them up into something easier. Palm, we can do it like a flask shape, you know? And then each finger, easy peasy, just draw it like a bean. And what that does is it's telling you where the bones of your fingers are supposed to go. And then you can also foreshorten them a little bit easier. So the way that you've drawn the hand, it's like your beans are going to be kind of facing forwards, but you've got other parts of the fingers too. Don't forget that. You've got other segments, so like this is kind of awkward looking here. You're gonna be looking directly at the tips of your fingers, and that's kind of like rough, you know. What else? Oh yeah, folds. Again, this lumpiness doesn't have to happen. All you gotta do, you know, is you just match your fold to the movement that your body's doing, okay? And adding just a bunch of lumps, the more lumps does not mean better folds. I promise you, it doesn't. Look how much better that looks in less lumps. Whoa. Pretty nuts, actually. Pretty crazy, like I would say, perhaps. You know? Pretty nuts. What's going on there? And that looks better instantly, and I drew what, like 15 lines? Like that's it. Right, easy peasy. You know, not that bad, not too hard. folds are actually hard to understand. It's literally all linked to movement. That's literally it. If your arm is bent, there are folds in that crease. If your arm is extended, it's pulling away from your torso, so there are folds from that. It's all based on just movement. It's literally all just based on movement, you know. It's not too bad. And again, if you need a reference and you're like, man, I can't look up that reference, I don't know where it is, you get a piece of tissue paper, you wrap it around your finger, and you bend your finger. And those folds are the same. Pretty crazy. Anywho. What else can I say about this? Again, there's so much to unpack here. Oh, it's another case of, hang on. There's another case of this going on here. Hang on. Take this. And once again, you've got a lot of headroom going on here that is unnecessary. Let's just crop that in. Whoops. We don't need all this. Right? Better! Because we're closer to the top here. We've got more room to breathe now. You know? Now there's less space for the headroom so that it doesn't feel too rough. But you've got this huge, like, thing here. You might actually want more space on this side, because what's happening now is you're getting close to the edge here, and that's making a tangent. We don't want that. It looks ugly. So let's push this back out over here. Now we've got more room for this. I know, nuts, crazy, wonderful. You know? I mean, kind of, actually more than that. Because this is now more of like a focal point kind of thing going on here. Because this is like big and bright. And it's taking up more space. So we probably want more room on that side actually. As we work with that. And then also this lighting is really rough. So again, just because we add a little bit of softness to everything doesn't mean that it's right. Right, so let's pull this back out over here. Our light is coming from over here. Maybe there's more light on this side too, but that's a little confusing. But this thing is super bright, so we're gonna want more lighting on this back of the hair here too. There's also a little bit of a glow around the edge of this guy, and I'm assuming what's happening is you realize that it was kind of hard to see him. Oh, there shouldn't be light here. That should not be there. That's being covered up by the jacket, so we don't want that. What I'm assuming you saw is you saw that this hair was kind of hard to see with the background, and you're like, oh shoot, I need to figure out a way to make this more visible, so then you just you gave him a glow, which is like one way to do it, but another way is also just to make, you know, you could make the background darker or you can make it lighter. That's another way to do it, because realistically this background is kind of like, it's a little too dark, because if he's this lit up, it's like you could probably make that background a little bit lighter and it would be fine, even though it's nighttime. You don't have to make it super dark even though it's nighttime. And you notice as well, I'm adding this little bit of like, this is called rim lighting. You add a little bit of rim lighting to everything, it does help, right? We've got a little bit of extra highlighting around the hair there, and it's already like way more visible by comparison to before. You know, and I don't understand what's happening with this lighting realistically. If there's a light source over, it looks like there's two light sources. Like, we've got one here and we've got one here, but they're the same color, so it ends up looking really confusing, and you're like, don't totally understand what's happening. But because this whole side of the arm is showing up over here, we need this all lit up, and we can kind of bring that back. Have this more lit here. I don't know what this lighting is. I don't know what this is. Get rid of this. I don't need that. And more of this lighting here. And then we can light this up a little bit here too. Because of lighting number 2 that's happening on the other side, right? Oh, I didn't do another layer. That's okay. It's the outline of the drawing with light. Yeah, I'm confused at what's happened. That's my whole thing is like, I'm confused as what's happening, because yeah, they did add just like a glow around everything. But if they added a glow around everything, then is he supposed to be glowing? Because then it's like, what's going on there? Or is it like a thing where it's like, oh, we need to If this is behind him, then this arm is broken. If it's supposed to be, if this is supposed to be a glow that's like coming from this, like it's hitting the back of him and there's a little bit of rim lighting, that means that this arm is completely pushed behind him like this. Like if he's like running like this, and it's like, then he's got this arm like this, it's going, oh, hang on. It's going like, it's like if this is the torso, and we've got this forearm doing this, then the forearm's doing this, and this. Like, this is the neck right here, and then this is the other arm as it's coming up and hitting the face. Like, that's what this is doing. If this is supposed to be glowing from behind here, oh, no. Because that's rough. I didn't think that it was like that. I thought it was rearing back to throw it. But if that's what that is, oh, no, buddy. No, because then, no, but then that means that the hand is doing this magic. Okay, wait. Because then that means we got the orb here. The hand is doing this magic then. Thumb right here. Oh no, buddy. Oh no. Oh no, that's... Uh-oh. Oh. No, that's not okay. Because if this hand is coming up here and doing this, then that's what this arm is doing, if that's the case. That's rough. No, I hope that's not true. I was like, my thought is that he was rearing back to throw it. I didn't think... Oh. If that's the case, then that's just a whole... Don't do that. Do this one. Do this pose. Don't listen to... Oh dear. That's not happening. Yeah, nobody can do that pose. That's not... Double jointed or not. That's just broken. That's a broken pose. That's what happened in there. Okay. Well, you know, I did my best. Everybody give claps for Timothy. Thank you so much for submitting. Thank you for doing your best. Yeah, this isn't even body shaming now. That's just genuinely impossible. Thank you, everybody, for submitting. Thank you, everybody, for joining me today. That's 4 o'clock. Thank you for being here. Once again, everybody who was featured in the stream, that is... I'll say your names again. That was Connor, Hess, Timothy, Sparkles or Edalyne, Clockworx, and Mondo San. All of you. If you were watching or if you're watching later, if you want to reach out to me once this stream is over... You know, let me know if you want your working files or not. You can just reach out to me via Discord or start a ticket in the main Discord server with the mods, and they'll get a hold of me, and I will send you your working file, layers and all. But yes, thank you all so much for joining me today. If you're new here, don't know too much about the channel, hey, wingcanvas.com. Check out our classes that we offer at wingcanvas.com. I have another mentorship opening up because apparently you guys really like my mentorships. So we've got another one opening up on May 12th. That is in a couple of Mondays from now. So if you want to join for one of those classes, that is opening up. We've got several digital arts. We've got several other illustration courses and things that you can join as well. So be sure to check those out. Obviously, these files, this isn't like other streams where things will be up as JPEGs in the Discord for you, but again, normally, if you would like these as JPEGs, then you could join our Discord, and I'll have them uploaded there for you, and you can just download them and do what you want with them. They're all yours. But working files are usually posted on Patreon. We've also got class recordings and things on School, if you'd like to take a look at those. For members, you can also, depending on your tier, you could also get class credits, so you can join classes via subscription. But okay, I forgot to check for stream what streams are coming up. What do we got this time? This Saturday, this Saturday you guys have Iggy. Iggy's gonna be rendering a legendary treasure map for you guys. So on Saturday you'll be with him, and he'll be rendering that for you. And then on Monday, you guys are going to be with Faye. Faye is going to be showing you guys how to paint watercolor for beginners. Pretty cool. Pretty epic. Alright. But okay. Thank you all for joining me for this Wednesday stream. Pretty crazy. And I'll see y'all in a couple of weeks. Au revoir. Bye-bye.